5-1, at Denver 5-2. Those two teams obviously Denver for sure heading in the right direction after coming back against the Giants on Sunday, and the Dallas offense has been elite this year, I guess. Yes. Dominant at times this year.
Number one offense in the league.
Yeah, so then there you go. So when you look at this matchup, guys, would you become a true believer in the Broncos if they were able to beat the Cowboys?
I think I already am a true believer in the Broncos. What their ceiling is going to depend on the version of Bo Nix that we get. And he has been hit or miss. And I'm not sure exactly what it is as to why he gets out to slow starts in games. But that's something that him and Sean Payton have to figure out, because as competition stiffens, your margin for error goes away. You can't afford to put yourself in a 19-point hole to these teams week over week and expect that you're going to come out on the right side of those games. You did it against the Eagles, it worked out. You did it against the Giants, it worked out. You just can't keep living like that in the NFL and end up contending for a division title and ultimately trying to compete for a Super Bowl. So that's the thing that I think is odd about the Denver Broncos. I believe in all of the ancillary pieces. I'm just not sure I'm in on the quarterback.
Let's flip it. How much of a believer would you be in the Cowboys if they were to win on the road at the 5-2 Broncos?
See, that's the lens I'm looking at this game through, because if the Broncos win at home versus the 3-3 Dallas Cowboys, that's a game with that defense, with what you've seen from Bo Nix, that you kind of expect them to win, even though the Cowboys offense has been excellent. If the 3-3 Dallas Cowboys go into Denver against that defense at altitude and they win this game, I'm going to believe in them much more. I know that this offense is good, but against that defense specifically in Denver, I'm going to relitigate how I view the rest of the season for the Dallas Cowboys and what I think they're capable of.
What about the NFC East?
Yeah, finish this sentence there.
If the Giants beat the Eagles again, I think we're going to have to re-examine that division in a different way.
Ooh.
Don't you think?
Wait, finish the sentence, Mom.
I already do, but I didn't know that you were going to get to that place, because I know how you felt about the Dallas Cowboys.
If the Cowboys win this weekend, I, Michelle Smallman, believe in them to do.
Let me look at the schedule. Stand by. I didn't know we were doing Mad Libs this segment.
Well, I'm just saying.
Okay, well, think about this.
You believe in them to make the playoffs?
You beat the Broncos.
Yeah.
Then you have the Cardinals, who you definitely should beat. You have the Raiders, who you definitely should beat.
So that puts them at 6-3-1.
But then we'll find out what they're made of. You've got the Eagles, the Chiefs, the Lions.
So that puts them back at 6-6-1 if we're going to be fair about this.
Okay, the Vikings.
7-6-1.
And then you close out the season against the Chargers, at Washington, and at the Giants.
Yeah, they're going to end up
division games that could be interesting at the end of the game. At the end of the season,
they could get to 10 wins. They can get to 10 wins.
Maybe.
Them games at the end of the season. Give me those 3 games at the end of the year.
Versus the Chargers, at Washington.
Versus the Chargers is in Dallas?
In Dallas.
Okay, at Washington, I don't know what the status of Jayden is going to be.
At the Giants to close out the season.
So they could win the last 2. I'm not giving them the Chargers win in this hypothetical yet. But they may, but I'm not giving them that.
Could the division be on the line?
I'm certainly not going to give them a loss.
You want to give them a tie?
They already got one of those.
That'd be great. If you projected a tie.
So let's just say that they're a 9-win team. 9-win team should be able to get you in the playoffs in the NFC. Sure.
And think about what we were saying about this team at the beginning of the season. They move on from Micah Parsons. Jerry Jones is causing a huge circus. We're like, what are you doing to Brian Schottenheimer, a first-time coach? We expected them to be competing for a top draft pick. And now we're talking about them winning 9-10 games, maybe punching their ticket to the playoffs. We're going to have to talk about Brian Schottenheimer in a different way.
Yeah.
We're certainly going to be talking about Dak Prescott in a way we haven't over the past few seasons, mostly because he's been out because of injuries. But we're talking about this defense in a different way. They have a real opportunity this game to go on a bit of a run.
Here's the thing. FPI only has the Cowboys favored in 5 of their remaining games, but I don't believe that this Cowboys team will remain as constituted if they win this game against the Denver Broncos. Hell, I think they're going to make a move at the trade deadline anyway, but even more so if they win this game, because it represents a clear opportunity for them to do something. They could win the division. And this is a division that hasn't had a repeat champ in 2 decades. So that is entirely on the board, especially with the chaos that's going on in Philadelphia. So I am at the place now where I'm willing to entertain the Cowboys having a path to winning the NFC East and getting into the postseason. I would even be more staunch in that position if they go out there and they beat the Denver Broncos on the road, especially a Broncos team that has an elite defense. Because what I would learn is that the Cowboys offense is one of the most dominant units in football, if not the most dominant unit in football.
Yeah, I think they only have one path, and that's winning the division. I don't think they can be a wild card team. I think there's too many other good teams when you look at the NFC North and NFC West.
Yeah, but those teams haven't played their division, the heart of their division schedules yet. They're going to cannibalize each other. I'm not worried about that.
Yeah, I still think the path is by way of division, and I don't think they can win the division. But here's the compliment to Brian Schottenheimer and Dak Prescott. It's a fair conversation to be had. And they're on the road at a 5-2 team this weekend. That's pretty good. And we're entertaining the idea of them winning when everybody was writing them off before the season because of the Mike-up trade. So the Cowboys deserve, any way you look at it, they deserve credit for us having this conversation right now. Pat Costello, I'm over it coming up. But first, Smalls has that Sean McVay had around getting a job with the Rams and who was involved in him getting the job, which includes but not limited to Fergie, Josh Duhamel, and
Wolfgang Puck.
You know what, Traeger? I'm going to leave it at that. Let people go listen to the podcast.
Yeah, that's it.
Let them listen to the podcast.
What
all
a
right.
crew.
That's a good crew.
And okay, I'm going to add one other thing. And all of them not realizing who Sean McVay was and asking him who he thought the next head coach of the Rams would be.
30-year-old Sean McVay.
Okay, I just gave it. Whatever.
He's trying to get the job. It's the last step, and he tells the story on my podcast this week. He was great. Gave me an hour. He was awesome. He's trying to get the job with the Rams. He thinks it's a done deal. They've told him, like, hey, just come to dinner with the owner. Gets there. They go to Spago in Beverly Hills spot. And he's 30 years old, dressed in Abercrombie and Fitch, underdressed, not looking great.
Great brand.
Shows up there. He's got the chin strap beard. He's like, I should not have looked this way. Looked like a 10-year-old kid. Goes there. Wolfgang Puck, owner of the restaurant, comes up and is like, so who's going to be the next head coach? And they're all awkwardly looking around, and McVay's just kind of nervous, like, I don't know. He thought he was going to be. And then Fergie and Josh Duhamel are both apparently Rams season ticket holders. They're like, so we're excited. They put their arms around Stan Kroenke, the owner. Who's going to be the head coach? And Sean's just sitting there at the table, and they're like, yeah. And then they didn't offer him the job that night. He's like, I think they cost me the job. The fact that no one knew who I was, I think they might have cost me the job.
It's LA. You got to know.
You got to know. You got to be the guy. So that's the story.
Strager, let's start.
It worked out.
It worked out. It's all right.
Why is Jordan Love the most interesting man in the NFL?
I just think this is such a fun week of football because of this Aaron Rodgers storyline, and yet Jordan Love might steal the entire show on Sunday. This is a guy who I think is getting a lot of slack this year and a lot of ish this year for not getting the job done. And if you look at the numbers, he's second in the league in the fourth quarter as far as QB rating goes. He's great on third down, and he's thrown 10 touchdowns to 2 interceptions. This is the Aaron Rodgers coronation. It's going to be in Pittsburgh. Rodgers already took the fangs out of this thing when he was like, I love being a Packer. I want to end my career as a Packer. Like, this isn't a revenge game to him. Doesn't feel like it has this animosity we were hoping for. We were like, oh, Packers, Steelers. I think Jordan Love comes in on a nationally televised game and lights it up. And I think he just absolutely terrorizes that Pittsburgh defensive backfield. And we come out Monday morning, instead of us being like, Rodgers and this coronation of Rodgers against the Packers, it's like, oh, wait, maybe Jordan Love's really good in this Packers team. Right now is the best record in the NFC, is the team we should be talking about more.
Do you really believe that from Aaron Rodgers, though, that this isn't a revenge game? He's been quiet this season based on everything we know about him, and he shared a lot with us. Do we really think this one doesn't have a little extra juice for him?
It was such a bizarre week of media for him. He was all love and all appreciation, and like that last year in Green Bay, that was not the case towards Goody, towards all the fact he wouldn't pick up his FaceTime, like all that stuff. I honestly think that the turbulent last few months with the Jets actually took the fangs out of things with the Packers for him. For Aaron Glenn to not want to even give him the opportunity to talk to him, and the second he flew across the country to meet with Aaron Glenn, and Aaron Glenn's like, no, dude, I'm just going to tell you we're good. He's like, you could have told me that over the phone before I flew in. I think the animosity was more towards the Jets than the Packers, which seems to be like an ex-girlfriend from years ago, and you just think about the fond memories, not the ugly breakup.
Shregs, we were talking a little bit offline about the weird around the Baltimore Ravens, the Lamar Jackson injury coming off of the bye week, him not practicing earlier in the week. They've taken the ping pong tables, the cornhole, and the video games out of the locker room. I hate to be doom and gloom because I love the Ravens organization. But if this season continues to spiral, could we see some significant changes in Baltimore?
I would think there would be a change. I don't know if that's Harbaugh's job. I don't think that he's in danger, but I would think they would change some coaching positions if this season continues to go this way. I feel as though last year they started off so slow and then they turned it around. So we've just been waiting. Like, we're waiting, all of us this season. Like, all right, well, it happened last year. They can do it again. But Lamar was at practice. I don't know if he did a full practice. Like, we might see Snoop Huntley this weekend. And if it's Snoop Huntley at home against the Bears. I don't know if that gives the Ravens the edge. And if they lose this one, I know the AFC North is not exactly world beaters, especially if the Steelers lose. 1-7 is a hard place to be if that's what you're looking at in the future.
So does the Lamar Jackson injury give John Harbaugh cover for what's going on with this season?
I wouldn't be so bold to speak on behalf of Steve Bisciotti because